Hello all, welcome to another episode of MenTalk2 Presents. Today I am really pleased to be joined by Chris O'Connor. So Chris is a writer, a co-host of the Mantality Podcast, and all-around good guy. So big welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's a pleasure to be on.
No worries. So as we know now, MenTalk2 Presents is a really short form kind of interview process in terms of getting different people on from different workplaces. So to understand how mental health can impact the different areas of industry. So when we talk about workplace, generally we think of an office, or at the moment we think of at home with kids around and all those kind of things. So just as an introduction, Chris, give us what's kind of your workplace like normally?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're obviously recording this during the middle of the COVID crisis. So I think my workplace is now the same as everyone else's for the first time in a long time, because my workplace has always been my office at home. And I say always, as in for the past 4 or 5 years has been my office from home. Before then, I've worked in various workplaces in kitchens and offices and stuff. But yeah, predominantly I work from home. I have the odd meeting in town, maybe a couple of times a week. I might have to go in or go somewhere for a meeting. But yeah, largely it's me at home, sitting in the office I'm in now. Working away. So yeah, it's just me in the office, and my productivity, everything's kind of down to myself and my routine, and has its challenges and its pros as well.
Amazing. So in terms of the writing then, is that something that you kind of always wanted to do? Is that a kind of an aspiration of yours as a kid?
Yeah, mate, as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a writer, or I think a fighter jet pilot was the other one. But my eyes started to deteriorate when I was like 14, 15, about 13, 14. And, it was never that serious anyway. But I wear contacts now. And yeah, I just always wanted to be a writer. Like I used to meet people when I was, my teens and early 20s. And a lot of people didn't know what they wanted to do. And I was always really glad I knew what I wanted to do. Obviously, it was really hard to actually get to a point where I could do it and be paid for it. It took me about the best part of 7-8 years of just entering competitions and working any job I could to pay rent and writing on the side. But yeah, eventually now I write, I teach writing, obviously do some other stuff as well with social media and Mantality. But it's my main role now is a writer, which is always really cool to say. And it's good to remember, like 5-6 years ago, how cool it would have been if I could tell myself, you are actually a writer now. So yeah.
Amazing. That's kind of great. And I think from memory, one of the first things that you managed to get, I'm not sure published is the right thing or the right terminology, but Life and Soul, and was off the back of a competition that you entered? Is that correct?
Yeah, I saw a call out for a competition. I was a receptionist at the time, and I used to work on a reception desk, and in the evenings I'd try and enter competitions. And there was a call out on BBC Writers' Room for a company called Little Pieces of Gold, which I'll always be grateful for. And there was a competition for 10-minute monologues on unheard voices. I think this is about 2015, I want to say 2014 maybe, so quite a while ago now. And you'll know yourself that the conversation around men's mental health in the past 6 years has just shifted massively. At the time, I was going through a particularly poor period of my own mental health, and I wrote a 10-minute monologue dealing with suicide and anxiety and drinking. And it won the competition and was selected and put on stage. And that was kind of my route in, because another theatre company in Leeds, Red Ladder Theatre Company, really liked it, and they commissioned me to do an extended version of it. And we ended up touring that around pubs and community centres around England and Northern Ireland. And that was kind of a changing point for me, really. But you're right, it all came from that competition.
Okay. And you mentioned there men's mental health being an important part, and at the time you were struggling. So is Life and Soul, is it a bit autobiographical or biographical?
Yeah.
Or?
It's probably 70-30.
Yeah.
Whenever people ask me which way that is, I'll never really say. So, but yeah, it's semi-autobiographical. I extended it for the part in Glass, which I think you came to see in Gipton. Yeah. Is that right? And that's probably less me now. It has become its own character, Jim, and reflections of some of the interactions I've since had from that, and the wider conversation as well. I've been lucky to have a leading mental health nurse check the script of me and to make sure that I'm doing the wider stories of a service. And I just want to flag up as well that I kind of mentioned it earlier, but the conversation, when I first wrote that stat, that I think it was at the time, 78% of all suicides were men at that point. I'm not sure what it is at the moment. I couldn't believe that stat when it came out. Now, everyone, and no one I knew at the time knew that. And now every single person I speak to seems to know that that is the case. And it's almost at a point where people are almost tired about talking about men's mental health, which I think is a good thing. So if it's so out there that some people are going, oh, not another, then that means, that's a price I'm willing to pay for the fact that for everyone who gets annoyed by it, there might be 5 men who think, oh, I'm going to go to Andy's Man Club, or I'm going to reach out now. So, yeah. It was a big part of my life then, and it's become a big part of my life since. Although my own struggles have declined loads, I'm nowhere near like I was then. So,
And did you find that process kind of therapeutic then?
Yeah, massively. Like not intentionally, but going through it and seeing it a lot on stage, helped me a lot. I think writing down is a form of therapy in some cases. I know CBT do a lot of that. Like you write down your thought and then you can kind of reframe it, right, and actually do it physically. Actually, is proven to help. So, I think it is. I think that did help me a lot.
Yeah, and tell me, what does it feel like when you've got your body of work that started from going home after a day as a receptionist to seeing your work in, like you say, the Parting Glass. I went to see the Parting Glass in Gipton, and there must have been a couple hundred people probably in the room at this working men's club. What does it feel like? Talk us through the emotion of going from that day one of actually physically writing what was Life and Soul, and then developed and added to become the Parting Glass. What does that feel like to your work? Kind of the audience reaction as well to that.
It is. It's something I've learned again to be better at. I think I used to. My mind was so anxious when I first started getting the Life and Soul on that I could never really stop and enjoy moments. I was always either worrying about something in the past or worrying again about the future. I really struggled to ever be in the moment. But since my own mental health's improved, those moments now, like Gipton as well, was a great memory. I actually am far more in them, and I really do enjoy them, mate. It's really nice to kind of get a sense that thing I've always dreamed about doing, I can just sit and enjoy the moment and see my work on stage and have the conversations with people after where you think you've actually done something good and people have said how it's helped, and the messages you receive in the days after. It's mate, I feel really, really thankful, and I feel incredibly kind of lucky to be in the position I am in.
Yeah, I was blown away by it. I think we had a good chat after I'd stopped crying from watching it. I was really blown away by the performances and the writing. Is obviously it was a topic that hit home for me, and I recognised a lot of myself in the character. And I think anyone that has struggled, or any man that struggled with poor mental health, will definitely relate to that. Which is why it's so powerful. And then just recently you've and we've just been having a chat before we pressed the record button on here, but talk us through Connected.
Yeah, Connected was I'd done some work with well-known actor Stevie Ward in a pub theatre context with another good mate of mine who's a really good actor, Paul Fox. And because Stevie's always had a bit of an eye on being an actor as well as a rugby league player. So I said, if you want to try it out, I do a pub theatre night, so I could write you something if you want to give it a go. And he did, and he threw himself into it. Rehearsals, was off script, and really gave it, used that same mindset, which is why he's so good at rugby, into this. And then when the COVID crisis hit, my immediate thought was that theatre's going to be impacted really badly. Like this is going to be potentially a year, 18 months, that the normal touring theatre model is going to have to change somewhat. And Stevie actually sent a WhatsApp to me and Foxy saying, we should do something again. We should do something around COVID conversations or something, I think he said. And I thought, that's actually a really good idea for a kind of audio series. There's two lads, but it's about the lads and the kind of the COVID stuff in the background at the start. And it kind of creeps in more and more. And it's how these two blokes deal with it. And you get little bits about their lives and the people, their loved ones, and about how that impacts them. And it's meant to be quite funny as well, but hopefully has a bit of a heart to it. And I pitched it to Red Ladder, and they were like, yeah, this sounds absolutely brilliant. And before Rod was furloughed, he helped us with the first episode. And yeah, we kind of just take it from there. And reflecting to what's happening in the real world has been quite fun, because sometimes we only have a few days to write and record it. But yeah, it's been really, really cool. And they're only like 5 to 10 minute episodes, and we've only got a couple left. So I think a lot of people have found them quite manageable. There's loads of content out there at the moment. Yeah, it's been good.
Again, it's relatable, isn't it? Because every guy can relate. Everyone's got that kind of mate that they meet in the pub. And that's kind of how it kind of starts off, doesn't it? In the fact that they meet every Wednesday for a couple of beers. There's plenty of banter going between the two, and you find, or I found, that in the episodes that I've listened to, is that the banter gets slightly less the more serious things get.
Yeah.
If you like, and even though the relationship kind of develops, it's the impact on their mental health as well. You can start to see that without actually having the obvious conversation around mental health between two guys. And again, it's something that I think is so reflective in what a lot of guys have probably experienced during this kind of time of lockdown, really.
Yeah, it's like, I want it to be quite an honest reflection, in the sense that there are bits some of the characters say that I'm not always sure are the right thing to say in that moment, but their hearts are always in the right place in some ways, and they kind of stumble their way through some of this stuff, and hopefully we kind of see what they're trying to do. And you can just see that they're good blokes trying to navigate some of this stuff in the midst of what's becoming a more and more scary time for everyone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's been quite, like you mentioned the banter there, like the jokes. As I'm writing it now, I kind of realise how a lot of people use jokes. Because sometimes someone will say something serious, and I kind of think, well, I know what my mates would say here, and it would be something funny to try and deflect or diffuse. And sometimes it might be something funny because that's what I need, or they might do something nice and then it's all got a bit too serious, and then to bring it back to normal, they'll use a joke to kind of like lighten everything again, because they've said the nice thing that, oh mate, I'm always here if you need. And then it's all a bit awkward for a second, so then a joke comes out to kind of diffuse it. But I guess the point is they've said that nice thing before, which is what we've all be better at, I think, as young blokes particularly.
Yeah, definitely. And then to kind of finish off then, a couple of things around your role, your job. Talk us through a normal day. What does a standard day as Chris O'Connor, the writer, look like?
Yeah, I mean, I get quite a lot of stick for being quite strict in my routine. But as I mentioned, being, just myself here, if I don't have a kind of routine, I'm not productive. And when it comes down to it, my happiness and productivity is a direct reflection of my habits. So I try quite hard to bed in good habits. And so I wake up at 7:30 every day, which isn't particularly early. A lot of people who work have to get up earlier than that, but it's kind of early when you don't have to be up. But I wake up at 7:30. First thing I do is I come down and I just write for half an hour. So before I do anything else, I write, and it's usually connected at the moment. Then about 8:10, 8:15, I'll exercise. Could be yoga, a run 3 days a week, or I'll do some sort of circuits in the living room. I'll do some form of exercise. And then 9, I'll have a cold shower. Only the weekdays, the weekend I can have a hot shower. And 9:30 I go on. That's the first time I turn on my phone. So I don't have a phone until that point, which has been a quite important development for me. They're really good tools, but I noticed how much it would waste my time and distract me. So yeah, 9:30, I turn on my phone, check my emails, check socials, WhatsApp on my laptop, and I have a bit of breakfast, and then 10:30, the night before, I always set out what I need to do that day, and I break it till about 10:36, take lunch at 1, and it might be, so this is scheduled in, for example, this chat, and I've got another Zoom at 2, and then I've got some emails to reply to, and I just schedule it all in. I try and finish about 6ish, so I have a working day that's kind of like defined, because I've found a lot of this out by doing it the wrong way. I often was always working on Sundays or evenings. Like, it was hard to put an end to my working day. But now, if I'm really productive between these hours, I get my work done and I can enjoy my time off rather than feel guilty. So yeah, it's taken quite a bit of honing, but that's kind of roughly it in a nutshell. I try and take weekends off as well. You know, as a writer, every now and again, I quite enjoy writing, so it doesn't feel like work. So if I want to on a Sunday, I will. But when it comes to like the other more admin stuff, that's always in the week for me now. Then it's nice to have mental space away from it.
It's one of the hardest things I've certainly found from working from home. Laptop is in my living room. I finally managed, after 14 weeks or whatever it is, to, on a Friday, I'd turn my laptop off, put it in a laptop bag and put it in a cupboard.
Nice.
Have it open. And it might be on kind of sleep mode, really. And I kind of walk past it and think, oh, just send that email, or just, and you never kind of switch off. So it's kind of really important. And then final question, what's the, and I suppose 2 parts really, what's the worst part of your job and what's the best part of your job?
You know, the same thing jumped in my head for both of them. And it was being alone was kind of my answer to both. Like,
yeah,
I'm naturally an introvert, and when I take away distractions and, you know, I don't have my phone in the office and I'm writing, I write the best, and I'm really in that flow state and the zone, and I really enjoy that. But if I'm, you know, if I'm left to my own devices, sometimes I might not see people for a few days. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I would probably say that kind of, to both answers, is probably being alone. In a sense, has its strengths, and it really is what I need as a person. That and other jobs, it really drains me if I'm it really drains me if I'm like constantly socializing or being around people. So yeah, but I need to make sure that I do go and see people quite a lot. So Stevie's a good mate to have, because he doesn't have a regular job, in the sense he trains in the morning. So we might catch up for lunch or coffee once or twice a week or something, or we'll go for a walk in the park. And yeah, I'll try and be social in the evenings. And I'm living with my girlfriend at the moment. She's here quite a lot, and she's good at getting me to do stuff when she thinks I'm doing too much by myself or on my own. So, and spending time with her's been brilliant as well at the moment. So yeah, kind of the same answer, but for different reasons.
Amazing. That's great. So big thanks, Chris. And I suppose one last thing, where can people find you and your extensive body of work as well?
Twitter's probably the best for me. It's at CPOconnor87, and then obviously Mantality at Mantality, and Red Ladder's at Red Ladder TC. So the stuff I'm all doing at the moment is on those various platforms. But as well, Dan, thanks for having me on, mate. It's always a pleasure to chat to you. And you know, you're another really good bloke out there doing good things and spreading good messages. And yeah, really enjoying your podcast, the 84 as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what you're doing.
Chris, it's been amazing. And for those listening, we are having the aforementioned Stevie Ward as a guest, so you'll be able to hear from him really soon as well. So big thanks for everyone listening. Check us out, obviously, MenTalk2 and Talk Out across LinkedIn, and Talk Out across the social media. And we'll see you very soon. Cheers, guys.